The morning sun shone bright over the Galactic Council building on Space Station Alpha Prime. Inside the huge meeting hall, hundreds of alien species sat in their special chairs. Some had 4 arms, others had tentacles, and a few looked like walking crystals. But they all had one thing in common. They thought they knew everything about the galaxy. Hyun-Woo Kim walked into the hall wearing his simple blue Earth uniform. He was tall and thin, with kind eyes behind small glasses. Other aliens barely looked at him. To them, he was just the human from that quiet farming planet called Earth. Hyun-Woo took his seat in the back row. Earth was not important enough for a front seat. The powerful species sat up front. The warrior Krathen with their metal skin, the smart Villani with their big brains, and the rich cosmic merchants who controlled trade routes. Today we discuss trade routes in Sector 7, announced the council. Speaker, a purple blob that talked through sound waves. All species must report their military strength for protection duties. One by one, the species stood up and bragged about their fleets. The Krathen had 5,000 warships. The Villani had 3,000, but each one could destroy a moon. The merchants had 2,000 ships filled with the best weapons money could buy. When it was Earth's turn, Hyun-Woo stood up slowly. Earth offers grain, fruits, and art pieces for trade. We have no military ships to report. Some aliens laughed. Others shook their heads in pity. Poor humans, they thought, so weak and helpless. But Hyun-Woo was not finished. We do have 12 transport ships for carrying food to other worlds. More laughter filled the hall. 12 ships? Most species had more ships in their personal fleets. After the meeting, Hyun-Woo walked through the station's market area. Aliens from across the galaxy sold strange foods, bright clothes, and powerful weapons. At one stall, a 4-armed Krathen warrior was showing off a plasma rifle. This can melt through any metal, the warrior bragged to a crowd. One shot can kill 50 enemies. Hyun-Woo stopped to watch. He asked simple questions like a curious farmer. How does it work? What makes it so hot? How do you aim it? The warrior was happy to explain. Aliens love to show off their technology to the simple humans. They thought humans were too stupid to understand anything dangerous. Later, Hyun-Woo met with So-Young Park at a quiet cafe. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and quick hands. Her job was selling Earth's food to alien worlds. At least that was what everyone believed. How? Was the council meeting? So-Young asked, sipping her tea. The same as always, Hyun-Woo replied. They think we are just farmers who grow pretty vegetables. So-Young smiled. Good. The Vorthak Empire is asking about buying more of our special corn. They love how it grows so fast. The Vorthak Empire was known across the galaxy for one thing: conquering weak planets. They had the biggest army and the meanest soldiers. Their ships were painted black and covered in spikes to scare their enemies. Which worlds have they attacked this year? Hyun-Woo asked. 7 so far, So-Young said quietly. All of them were peaceful farming worlds, just like Earth appears to be. That evening, Hyun-Woo returned to his small room on the space station. He opened his computer and sent a message to Earth. To anyone watching, it looked like a boring report about grain prices and trade deals. But hidden in the message was something else. Information about every weapon he had seen that day. Meanwhile, on Earth, Jin-Ho Lee was working in his fields. The green plants grew in perfect rows under the Korean sun. Jin-Ho was an old farmer, with rough hands and a kind face. He had grown food on this land for 30 years, but today was different. A message appeared on his work tablet. It looked like a normal farming report, but Jin-Ho knew better. He read the hidden words carefully, then put the tablet away. As the sun set, Jin-Ho walked to an old barn at the edge of his property. He pressed his hand against a hidden panel and the floor opened up. Below was a tunnel that led deep underground. Jin-Ho climbed down and walked through the tunnel for 10 minutes. At the end was a huge underground room filled with machines and computers. Men and women in work clothes were building something big and metal. "How is the new ship coming along?" Jin-Ho asked a young woman with oil on her hands. "Almost finished," she replied. "The plasma cannons work perfectly. The shield system is better than anything the aliens have." Jin-Ho nodded and walked to another room. Inside, dozens of people were studying alien technology. They took apart weapons, engines, and computers. Then they built new ones that worked even better. This was Earth's biggest secret. While the galaxy thought humans were simple farmers, they were actually learning everything they could about alien technology. Every trade deal brought new knowledge. Every friendly meeting gave them more information about alien weapons and ships. HFY, aliens were happy to teach humans about their technology. They thought humans were too peaceful to ever use it for fighting. They were wrong. Back on Alpha Prime Station, Hyun-woo was getting ready for bed when his door chimed. A message had arrived. The sender was Emperor Krex of the Vorthak Empire. Hyun-woo opened the message and read it twice. His face stayed calm, but his heart beat faster. The message was short and simple. To the humans of Earth, your world has been chosen for incorporation into the Vorthak Empire. You have 30 galactic standard days to surrender. If you refuse, we will take your planet by force. Do not resist. It will only make things worse for you. Hyun-woo closed the message and sat down. For a moment, he looked like a tired old man who had received terrible news. Then he smiled. He opened his computer and typed a reply. "The people of Earth need time to discuss your generous offer. We accept the 30-day period to consider our response." As he sent the message, Hyun-woo thought about Jin-Ho working in his underground factory. He thought about So Young and her food transport ships. He thought about the thousands of humans across the galaxy who were pretending to be simple farmers and artists. The Vorthak Empire thought they were about to conquer another helpless world. They had no idea what was really waiting for them. In 30 days, they would find out that sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous of all. The news of the Vorthak threat spread across Earth faster than wildfire. In homes, schools, and workplaces, people read the message on their screens. But instead of screaming or crying, something strange happened. People smiled. In Seoul, Miran, Choi was teaching children about alien languages when the message arrived. She looked at her class of 12-year-olds and saw no fear in their eyes. These children had been learning about space weapons since they could walk. They knew this day would come. "Teacher?" asked a small boy. "Is it time for the real lesson now?" Myran nodded. She pressed a button on her desk, and the classroom walls slid away. Behind them was a room full of computers and communication equipment. The children walked to their stations like they had practiced 1,000 times. "Contact all Earth stations," Miran said. "Tell them the harvest season has begun." Across the planet, the same thing was happening. In what looked like normal schools, students were actually learning to operate the most advanced communication systems in the galaxy. Every teacher was really a military expert. Every student was a future soldier. But the biggest surprise was happening in the countryside. Jin-Ho Lee stood in his field and watched as hundreds of people came out of hidden doors in the ground. They wore work clothes, but they moved like soldiers. In minutes, his quiet farm became a busy military base. Dong-hyun Yoon climbed out of the main tunnel. He was a big man with strong arms and smart eyes. For years, he had pretended to be Jin-ho's helper on the farm. Really, he was one of Earth's best engineers. "How many ships are ready?" Jin-ho asked. "From this base?" 300, Dong-hyun replied. "The new plasma weapons work perfectly. The shield systems can stop anything the Vorthak have." Jin-ho smiled. His farm was just one of thousands of hidden bases around the world. Each base had been built under normal-looking buildings. Farms, schools, hospitals, even shopping centers. All of them hid Earth's real military power. The aliens had taught humans well. Every time they showed off their technology, humans had been watching and learning. But humans did something the aliens never expected. They made everything better. Alien plasma weapons fired once every 3 seconds. Human plasma weapons fired 3 times per second. Alien shields could stop 10 hits before breaking. Human shields got stronger with each hit. Alien ships were fast. Human ships were invisible. In the capital city, So-young Park walked into what looked like a normal office building. She took an elevator down to the basement, then kept going down for another 10 floors. At the bottom was Earth's real military, command center. The room was huge and filled with screens showing the entire galaxy. Hundreds of people worked at computers, tracking every alien ship and base. They had been watching and planning for 50 years. Yoonji Nam walked over to So-young. She was young and pretty, with a sweet smile that fooled every alien she met. Her job was supposed to be organizing cultural exchanges with other species. Really, she was Earth's master spy. "How many Vorthak ships are coming?" So-young asked. 3,000, Yoonji replied. "They think it's enough to scare us into giving up." So-young laughed. 3,000? That's all? On the big main screen, numbers appeared. Earth had 12,000 ships hidden around the solar system. Each one was better than anything the Vorthak had ever seen, but the aliens didn't know that yet. The secret had started 50 years ago when humans first met aliens. The aliens saw humans as weak and simple. They were happy to share their technology because they thought humans could never use it to hurt anyone. How wrong they were. Every alien species that visited Earth brought gifts, weapons, engines, computers, and medical equipment. They thought they were helping poor humans learn about the galaxy. Really, they were giving humans the tools to become the galaxy's strongest military force. The best part was how easy it had been to fool them. Humans just acted stupid and grateful. They asked simple questions and pretended to be confused by complex technology. The aliens loved feeling smart and helpful. But while the aliens were showing off, human scientists were recording everything. Every weapon was taken apart and studied. Every computer was copied and improved. Every engine was rebuilt to work better. The aliens had also shared their military tactics. They told humans about their battles and strategies. They drew maps of their bases and explained their weaknesses. They thought it was just friendly conversation. Humans remembered every word. In his underground laboratory, Dong-hyun was putting the final touches on a new type of ship. It looked small and simple, but it could destroy anything the Vorthak had. The best part was its cloaking system. Technology borrowed from 6 different alien species and made much better. This ship could take on 10 Vorthak warships and win, he told his team. "Good thing we built 4,000 of them," replied his assistant. Meanwhile, Jin-ho was meeting with farmers from around the world. At least they looked like farmers. Really, they were Earth's secret military commanders. Each one controlled hundreds of hidden bases and thousands of ships. "The Vorthak think we have no weapons," said a woman from Brazil. "They're going to be very surprised." "What about the other alien species?" asked a man from Russia. "Will they help the Vorthak?" Jin-Ho shook his head. "They're too scared. The Vorthak are bullies, but most aliens just want to trade and make money. They won't fight unless they have to." That was another part of Earth's plan. For 50 years, humans had been the perfect trading partners. They sold food and art, bought alien technology, and never caused trouble. Every alien species trusted them. When the Vorthak attacked Earth, the other aliens would just watch. They wouldn't help either side. That was exactly what humans wanted. As the days passed, Earth got ready for war. But from space, the planet looked the same as always. Ships came and went, carrying food and art to alien worlds. Cities were busy with normal life. Farms grew their crops under the sun. The Vorthak sent spy ships to watch Earth. They saw exactly what they expected: a weak planet with no defenses. The spy ships detected no military bases, no weapon factories, no hidden fleets. The human cloaking technology was too good. Even when Vorthak spies looked right at a military base, they saw only a normal farm or school. Emperor Krex was very happy with the spy reports. "The humans have no way to fight us," he told his generals. "This will be the easiest conquest in Vorthak history." His generals agreed. Earth would surrender as soon as they saw the Vorthak fleet. No one would die. The humans would become slaves, and the Vorthak Empire would gain a new farming world. They had no idea that Earth's farmers were actually the most dangerous military force in the galaxy. On day 25, Hyun-woo sent another message to Emperor Krex. "The people of Earth are still discussing your offer. We need a few more days to make our decision." Krex was not worried. Let the humans take their time. In 5 days, his fleet would arrive, and the humans would see that resistance was impossible. But deep under Jin-Ho's farm, the last of Earth's secret ships were rolling out of their hidden factories. Soon, the Vorthak would learn what happened when you threatened a world that had been preparing for war for 50 years. The quiet farmers of Earth were ready to show the galaxy what humans could really do. The 30th day had arrived. Across the galaxy, alien species watched their screens as the mighty Vorthak fleet moved toward Earth. 3,000 black warships flew through space like a dark cloud of death. Emperor Krex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds. He was 10 feet tall with gray skin and red eyes that glowed in the dark. His armor was covered in spikes, and his voice could shake walls. He had conquered 47 worlds, and Earth would be number 48. "How long until we reach the human planet?" Krex asked his navigation officer. 2 hours, my emperor," the officer replied. "Our spy ships report no change. The humans are still defenseless." Krex smiled, showing his sharp teeth. This would be easier than taking candy from a baby. The humans would see his fleet and surrender immediately. Then he would make them work in the farms to feed his empire. On Earth, people went about their normal day. Children went to school, adults went to work, farmers worked in their fields. To any watching alien, it looked like humans had given up. Hope. But underground, in thousands of hidden bases, something else was happening. Seok Jin Han sat in the captain's chair of the Indomitable Dawn, Earth's most powerful warship. The ship was hidden inside a mountain, waiting for the right moment. Seok Jin was calm and quiet, but his eyes were sharp like a hunting eagle. "Sir," said his communications officer, "the Vorthak fleet will arrive in 1 hour." "Good," Seok-Jin replied. "Signal all ships. Prepare for Operation Surprise." Around the solar system, 12,000 human ships powered up their engines. They were hidden behind moons, inside asteroid fields, and under cloaking devices that made them invisible. The most advanced alien sensors couldn't detect them. Yujin Bei floated in space near Mars, wearing a special suit that made her invisible to all sensors. She was Earth's best spy, and she had been watching the Vorthak fleet for days. She knew exactly how many ships they had, what weapons they carried, and how they planned to attack. "Target the command ships first," she whispered into her communicator. "Take out their leaders and the rest will panic." Tae-Hyung Lim was on the moon, operating a secret base that looked like a simple research station. His job was to map every Vorthak ship and find their weak spots. He had been studying alien warships for 20 years and knew exactly where to hit them. "All ships have been analyzed," he reported. "Sending target data now." The information flowed to every human ship in seconds. Each captain knew exactly which enemy ship to attack and where to aim for maximum damage. On the Destroyer of Worlds, Emperor Krex received a message from Earth. It was from Hyun-Woo Kim, the simple human diplomat. "Great, Emperor Krex," the message said. "The people of Earth have made their decision. We choose to surrender to your mighty empire. Please be gentle with us." Krex laughed so hard that his officers had to hold on to their chairs. "Did you hear that? The humans are begging for mercy before we even arrive." He opened a channel to broadcast across his entire fleet. "Warriors of the Vorthak Empire, the humans have already surrendered. This conquest is over before it began." Cheers echoed through 3,000 ships. The Vorthak soldiers were disappointed. They had hoped for at least a small fight. But in the command center under So-Young Park's office building, everyone was smiling. Earth's leaders watched as the Vorthak fleet approached their home planet with no caution at all. "They think we've given up," So-Young said. "Perfect." The Vorthak fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel right next to Earth. 3,000 massive warships filled the space around the planet. Each ship was the size of a city and covered in weapon systems. Emperor Krex looked at the blue and green planet below. It was beautiful and peaceful. Soon, it would belong to him. "Human planet Earth," he announced over the radio. "I am Emperor Krex of the Vorthak Empire. You have surrendered to our power. Prepare for occupation." But instead of a frightened reply, he heard something unexpected. Laughter. "Emperor Krex," came Seok-Jin Han's voice, calm and confident. "Thank you for coming. We've been waiting for you." "Who is this?" Krex demanded. "You said you surrendered." "Oh, we did say that," Seok-Jin replied. "We lied." Suddenly, the space around Earth began to shimmer and twist. Reality itself seemed to bend and change. The Vorthak sensors went crazy, detecting energy readings that should have been impossible. "What's happening?" Krex shouted at his science officer. "I don't know, sir. Something is wrong with space itself." Then the impossible happened. Ships began appearing out of nowhere, not just a few ships, thousands of them. They materialized from behind asteroids, decloaked from empty space, and emerged from hidden bases on moons and planets. In seconds, the Vorthak fleet found themselves surrounded by 12,000 human warships. The human ships were beautiful and deadly. They were sleek and silver with no spikes or scary decorations. But the weapons they carried made Vorthak technology look like toys. "Impossible," Krex screamed. "Our spies saw no ships, no bases, no weapons." "Your spies saw exactly what we wanted them to see," Seok-Jin replied. "Congratulations, Emperor Krex. You just fell into the biggest trap in galactic history." On the bridge of the indomitable Dawn, Seok-Jin looked at his tactical display. Every Vorthak ship was marked with red targeting symbols. Every weakness had been identified. Every escape route was blocked. "All ships," he announced to the human fleet, "you are free to engage. What happened next would be remembered across the galaxy for 1,000 years. The human ships opened fire with weapons that shouldn't have existed. Plasma beams that were 3 times hotter than anything the Vorthak had ever seen. Energy shields that got stronger when attacked instead of weaker. Missiles that could think for themselves and find the perfect spot to hit. The Vorthak tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't even scratch the human shields. Their ships were designed to scare weak planets into surrendering. They had never faced an enemy that was actually stronger than them. "Return fire!" Krex ordered desperately. The Vorthak fleet unleashed everything they had. Thousands of plasma beams and missiles flew toward the human ships. The humans watched calmly as the attacks bounced off their shields like raindrops. "Is that all you have?" Seok-Jin asked over the radio. "We were expecting more from the mighty Vorthak Empire." The battle was over in minutes. Half the Vorthak fleet was disabled before they could even turn around. The other half tried to escape, but human ships were faster and smarter. Emperor Krex sat in his command chair, staring at the screens in shock. In 30 years of conquest, he had never even been scratched in battle. Now his entire fleet was helpless against farmers who weren't really farmers. "How?" he whispered. "How did weak humans build such powerful ships?" Seok-Jin's face appeared on Krex's main screen. The human captain looked calm and friendly, like he was discussing the weather. "We had good teachers," Seok-Jin said. "Your people, the Krathan, the Vellani, every alien species in the galaxy taught us about weapons and war. We just listened very carefully." The truth hit Krex like a punch to the stomach. For 50 years, aliens had been showing humans their technology. They thought they were helping. Primitive farmers learn about the galaxy. Instead, they had been training the most dangerous military force in known space. "Surrender, Emperor Krex," Seok-Jin said kindly. "Your war is over." Emperor Krex stared at his tactical screen in disbelief. His mighty fleet was scattered like leaves in a storm. Some ships were completely destroyed. Others floated helplessly in space with their engines dead. A few were trying to escape, but "Human ships chased them down easily. This is impossible," Krex muttered. "We are the Vorthak Empire. We have conquered worlds for 300 years. But the humans weren't finished with their surprises. Haewon-Young stood on the bridge of her ship, the silent thunder, floating in the darkness near the edge of Vorthak space. She was small and quiet, but her eyes burned with fierce intelligence. As Admiral of the Terran Deep Strike Force, she commanded 2,000 of Earth's most advanced ships. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "the Sol System battle is complete. Emperor Krex's fleet has been defeated." "Good," Haewon replied. "Begin Operation Plowshare." Across the galaxy, hidden human ships suddenly appeared at every eye. Major Vorthak military base. They had been waiting in the darkness for years, watching and learning about Vorthak defenses. The bases never saw them coming. At the Vorthak military headquarters on Krexlon Prime, General Thark was drinking victory, wine and celebrating Earth's conquest. He expected to hear news of human surrender any minute. Instead, alarms began screaming throughout the base. "Sir!" A young officer ran into the command room. "Unknown ships are attacking the orbital platforms." "Impossible," General Thark growled. "All our fleets are busy conquering Earth. Who would dare attack us?" His answer came when human ships dropped their cloaking devices. 50 sleek silver vessels surrounded the planet, each one more advanced than anything in the Vorthak military. "This is Captain Kyung-Ho Shin of the Terran Navy," came a calm voice over the radio. "General Thark, your Empire's war machine ends today." The human ships opened fire with surgical precision. They didn't attack cities or hurt civilians. Instead, they targeted weapon factories, military bases, and warship construction yards. In minutes, the Vorthak Empire's ability to make war was completely destroyed. The same thing was happening on dozens of Vorthak worlds. Human ships appeared from nowhere, destroyed military targets, and vanished before reinforcements could arrive. It was like fighting ghosts. But the humans had one more surprise for Emperor Krex. Sunmyo sat in a special room aboard the indomitable Dawn. She was Earth's expert on alien psychology and had spent years studying how different species thought and acted. Now she was ready to use that knowledge as a weapon. "Emperor Krex," she said over the radio, "I have something to show you." Krex's main screen flickered and changed. Suddenly, he was watching recordings of himself in his private meetings with other Vorthak leaders. Meetings where he planned attacks on peaceful worlds. Meetings where he discussed enslaving alien populations. Meetings where he laughed about destroying entire civilizations. "Where did you get these?" Krex demanded. "From the cultural gifts your people gave us," Sunmi replied sweetly. "Those beautiful Vorthak art pieces you sent to Earth? Each one contained tiny recording devices. We've been watching and listening to your empire for 20 years. More recordings played. Vorthak generals planning attacks. Scientists developing biological weapons. Politicians discussing which worlds to conquer next. Every secret meeting, every evil plan, every war crime had been recorded by human spies. We know everything about your empire," Sunmi continued. "Every base, every ship, every weakness. We know which of your generals hate you and which of your planets want to rebel. We even know where you keep your personal treasure." Krex felt his world crumbling around him. The humans had been 10 steps ahead of him the entire time, but the worst news was still coming. Yujin Bei's voice crackled over the radio from her position near Mars. "Emperor Krex, you should know that your empire no longer exists. Every military base has been destroyed. Every warship factory is burning. Every weapon stockpile has been eliminated. But we didn't kill anyone who didn't fight back," she added. "Your soldiers are alive. Your people are safe. But your war machine is finished forever." The communication channels filled with reports from across the Vorthak Empire. Not just military targets, the humans had also struck the Empire's economic centers. They had shut down the slave markets, freed the conquered populations, and captured the treasure ships that funded Vorthak expansion. In less than 1 hour, the most powerful military empire in the galaxy had been completely dismantled. "How many ships do you humans really have?" Krex asked weakly. Seokjin Han smiled on the screen. "Enough." The truth was even more shocking than Krex could imagine. Earth had been building ships for 50 years, hidden in underground factories across the planet. Every trade deal with aliens had brought new technology to copy and improve. Every peaceful meeting had been a chance to gather intelligence about alien weaknesses. While the galaxy saw humans as simple farmers, They had actually become the most advanced military civilization in known space. The Galactic Council was watching everything from their space station. The purple blob speaker was shaking with fear. The crystal beings were flashing bright colors of panic. The four-armed Krathen warriors were staring at their screens in shock. "The humans," whispered one council member, "they planned all of this." "For how long?" asked another. Ambassador Hyunwoo Kim's calm voice answered from his position at the back of the council chamber. "Since the day we first met aliens and realized some of them were bullies." He stood up and walked to the front of the chamber. Every alien eye was on him. "The Vorthak Empire threatened our world," Hyunwoo said simply. "So we defended ourselves, but we also eliminated their ability to threaten anyone else ever again." The implications hit the council like a thunderbolt. If humans could destroy the Vorthak Empire in 1 hour, what could they do to other species? "Are you going to conquer the galaxy now?" asked a nervous cosmic merchant. Hyunwoo smiled the same kind smile he had worn for 50 years. "No. We're going to keep farming and making art. But if anyone else decides to threaten peaceful worlds, they'll end up like the Vorthak Empire." Back in the Sol system, Emperor Krex faced a choice. His fleet was destroyed, his empire was in ruins, and he was surrounded by ships that could vaporize him with a single shot. "What do you want from me?" he asked. "Unconditional surrender," Seok-Jin replied, "and a promise that the Vorthak will never again attack a peaceful world." Krex expected to be executed or thrown in prison. That's what he would have done to a defeated enemy. Instead, something impossible happened. Jin-Ho Lee appeared on his screen, carrying a basket of fresh vegetables from his farm. The old farmer smiled at the alien emperor who had come to conquer his world. "Emperor Krex," Jin-Ho said gently, "you must be hungry after such a long journey. Would you like to join me for dinner?" Emperor Krex stared at the screen in confusion. The old human farmer was offering him dinner after destroying his entire empire? It made no sense. "Is this some kind of trick?" Krex asked suspiciously. Jin-Ho Lee smiled and shook his head. "No trick. Just an invitation. You came a long way from home, and you must be tired and hungry." For the first time in his life, Emperor Krex didn't know what to do. He had expected death, torture, or slavery. He had not expected kindness. "Bring your personal shuttle to my farm," Jin-Ho continued. "Come alone. If you try anything foolish, Captain Seok-Jin's ships will stop you, but I don't think you will cause trouble." An hour later, the most feared emperor in the galaxy was sitting at a simple wooden table in a Korean farmhouse. Jin-Ho served him rice, vegetables, and soup made from crops grown in the same fields that had hidden Earth's secret weapons. "This food is good," Krex admitted, surprised. "I have never tasted anything like it." "Growing food takes patience," Jin-Ho explained. "You plant seeds and wait. You care for the plants every day. You protect them from storms and pests. Only then can you harvest something good." Krex ate in silence, thinking about the farmer's words. Outside the window, he could see the peaceful Korean countryside. Children played in the yard. Workers tended the crops. It looked like paradise compared to the war-torn worlds of his empire. "Why didn't you just destroy us?" Krex finally asked. "You had the power to wipe out every Vorthak in the galaxy." Jin-Ho poured more tea into Krex's cup. "Because that would make us no better than you. We prepared for war so we could choose peace." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the effects of the human victory were spreading like ripples in a pond. On Zentara Prime, the lizard-like Zentarans were celebrating in their crystal cities. The Vorthak had planned to invade their world next month. Now they were free. The humans saved us, their queen declared. We will never forget this debt. On dozens of other worlds, enslaved populations were breaking free from Vorthak control. Human ships had destroyed the prison camps and military bases, but they hadn't conquered the planets. Instead, they had simply announced, "You are free. Govern yourselves as you choose." At the Galactic Council, emergency meetings were happening every hour. Every species was trying to understand what the human victory meant for them. Wu Jin Park, Earth's new Supreme Commander, arrived at the space station with a small fleet of human ships. He was young but confident, with kind eyes that held steel. Beneath. Honored Council members, Wu Jin addressed the assembly. Earth has a proposal for a new galactic order. The aliens listened nervously as he explained Earth's vision. No more empires built on conquest. No more slavery or forced labor. Trade would be free and fair. Disputes would be settled by negotiation, not war. What if someone refuses to follow these rules? Asked a Krathan warrior. Wu Jin smiled the same peaceful smile that had fooled aliens for 50 years. Then they'll discover that Earth takes peace very seriously. The message was clear. Humans would use their overwhelming military power to enforce peace across the galaxy. Any species that tried to conquer others would face the same fate as the Vorthak Empire. But the most amazing changes were happening on the former Vorthak worlds. Emperor Krex had agreed to help rebuild his empire as a peaceful civilization. It was either that or spend his life in prison. He chose to learn about farming. Chan Wu Li, who really was just a farmer, taught Krex how to plant seeds and tend crops. At first, the former emperor was angry and frustrated. He was used to taking what he wanted by force. Now he had to wait for plants to grow. "This is too slow," Krex complained after his first week of farm work. "I could conquer 3 worlds in the time it takes these plants to sprout." "Yes," Chan Wu agreed, "but conquering doesn't create anything. It only destroys. Farming creates food that feeds people for generations." Slowly, Krex began to understand. The human way wasn't about power or fear. It was about building something that lasted. Other Vorthak leaders were learning similar lessons across their former empire. Human advisors taught them about democracy, fair trade, and peaceful cooperation. It was hard work, but it was better than being destroyed. Some Vorthak refused to change and tried to restart their military. They discovered that human spy networks were still watching everything. Rebellious leaders found themselves arrested by their own people, who had learned to prefer peace over war. The galaxy was changing in other ways, too. Species that had hidden their own defensive preparations began revealing them. The Zentarans showed off crystal ships that could become invisible. The Mystic Wanderers displayed weapons that used pure energy. The peaceful traders revealed that their cargo ships were actually mobile fortresses. It turned out that humans weren't the only ones who had been preparing for war while pretending to be harmless. "We learned from watching you," the Zentaran Queen told Ambassador Ga Young Kim during a trade meeting. "If humans could pretend to be farmers while building the galaxy's strongest navy, we could pretend to be miners while developing crystal technology." The galaxy had become a much more dangerous place for bullies and conquerors. 5 years later, Jin Ho Lee was still farming his land, but now he had an unlikely helper. Emperor Krex, no longer emperor of anything, spent his days working. In the fields, the former dictator had learned to find peace in simple work. His hands, once used for signing death warrants, now planted seeds that would feed families. His voice, once used for threats and commands, now asked quiet questions about soil and weather. "Jin Ho," Krek said one evening as they watched the sunset, "do you think I can ever make up for the harm I caused?" The old farmer considered the question carefully. "You destroyed many lives," he said honestly. "You can't bring back the dead or undo the pain. But you can spend the rest of your life making sure it never happens again." Krex nodded slowly. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was hope. At the Galactic Council, Hyun-Woo Kim was finishing his final report as Earth's ambassador. He was retiring to spend time with his grandchildren, but his work was done. The galaxy was at peace. Trade flowed freely between worlds. Disputes were settled by negotiation. Military fleets were used for exploration and defense, not conquest. And everyone knew that Earth was watching, ready to enforce the peace with 12,000 ships that could appear from nowhere. "How long will it last?" asked the purple blob council speaker. Hyun-Woo smiled his familiar gentle smile. "As long as bullies remember what happened to the Vorthak Empire. As long as peaceful species are willing to defend themselves. As long as farmers are ready to become soldiers when they need to be." He gathered his papers and headed for the door. "The galaxy is yours to govern wisely. We'll be on Earth if you need us, growing food and making art." "And building ships?" asked a nervous cosmic merchant. Hyun-Woo paused at the doorway and looked back. Maybe, maybe not. That would be telling. As his shuttle departed for Earth, every alien in the council chamber was thinking the same thing. How many more secrets did the humans have? Back on Earth, children played in the fields while their parents worked the land. Visitors from other worlds came to trade and learn about human farming techniques. Everything looked peaceful and normal, but deep underground, in hidden factories that no alien had ever detected, new ships were still being built. Better ships, faster ships, ships with weapons that hadn't been invented yet, because humans had learned the most important lesson in the galaxy. The best way to keep peace was to be ready for war, and if anyone ever forgot that lesson, 12,000 ships would remind them. The galaxy had learned to fear the quiet ones,